really believe this. Like, obviously, Dark is an overwhelming favorite here against Kelazhur, but if Eleza would fall against Hero, I think that would be a very difficult matchup, because I agree with Jeff. Kelazhur, his TVZ, is excellent. It's fun to watch, and like the video said as well, it's a little bit of cliche, right? Like how much heart he showed all year. Well, for Diego, it's true. The passion he showed in Austin and some of the other events whenever he had big victories. It's been a treat to watch Kelazhur, and he truly has a spectacular rise, I think, over the last few years. Every year, he took his game to the next level, and he went from a slightly gimmicky Terran to just an all-around badass Terran.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's about to be Dark, too. I can't believe that.
Those are your words, Jeff.
feeling very confident. Feeling very confident for our Brazilian Terran player, are you, Jeff?
I am. Not, no. But
what stands out to you? Why? Give us the meat.
He is a hard worker. He's actually one of the quietly hardest workers of the people here. And this is not like a lazy class. This is not a bunch of Stefanos or something like that, or just French people in general. It's just no, I'm just kidding. Wow, I just knocked out the whole stream, actually.
I was going to say there's quite a few Europeans tuning in. That's the direction you want to go.
No, seriously, though, he's a very hard worker. Any answer I give here, there's going to be, you could just roll your eyes and say, yeah, but Dark, and I get that. I think if I had the last of my money and I had to bet on someone, I'd put it on Dark. But I actually have a weird feeling that we're going to see something more. And if it's just a map, okay, but if it's... Kelazhur's got the ability, guys, I'm telling you.
With Dark, he's been a terror of the Korean scene. He has had some amazing results, including up to last year's global finals. Roddy, what makes Dark such a god?
You just got to be a fan of this guy. He's just an all-around very complete Zerg. In the video, I think they mentioned like his mastery of the late game. I think Dark is solid all around. I think Dark is fantastic mid-game. I think he's fantastic early game in shutting down any sort of nonsense. His mechanics are always on point. He's just a treat to watch because he's fast, he's accurate, and he plays damn smart. And he's one of those old school cliches where it's like he just has more units than most other Zergs in certain phases in the game. There's a reason why last year he was the runner-up, and I think we can all agree that if the Reaper wasn't as powerful as it actually was, there's a good chance that it would have been him lifting that trophy instead. Dark is an absolute monster, and he had another great year, and I'm sure that he wants to go all the way this time.
Yeah, feeling confident. Coming into this tournament, a lot of people cheering for Dark. They wanted to see him get that trophy last year, and I think very interesting to mention, of course, that Reaper change. The changes this year kind of shaped that Terran versus Zerg matchup a little bit, and I gotta say, looking at the way that Kelazhur plays, we know that he likes that bio style. Not a crazy lot of mech busts out by him this year.
No.
I think it's something that makes the other Terrans stand out that have been competing at this global finals, but. My desire to dive into the Terran analysis is showing a little bit. But, you know, Dark, he was the runner-up last year. He doesn't lose against non-Korean players, and he is just a complete Zerg, as you guys have both said.
Did you see those stats? I think it's like since 2012, he's 69-7 in maps. Like that is ridiculous. If anybody does that on ladder, we take a screenshot of it. It's like, damn, that's really good. He's done it in competition, like in actual tournament games. Yeah, Dark is absolutely fantastic. I have no idea how Diego is going to approach this. Diego is a solid macro Terran, but he's always been that guy that's willing to proxy, you know, proxy Rex here, proxy Factory there. Even at GSO vs. the World, right? He did it against TY in that big match that he did win, but it didn't come easy. He's been so much fun to watch this year, but I don't know what I would think if I'm in Diego's shoes. Do you play straight up and just let Dark be comfortable?
How do you prepare for a match like this?
I honestly don't know.
If this was a best of 5 or best of 7, I would give Diego like a 3% chance or 0. But it's a best of 3, guys. Really weird things can happen. And I think even you go to a special series yesterday, and it was getting progressively harder and weirder for him. In Game 3 against Stats, it was like Stats did a wonky build, and I think Stats would like to ask for that back, because in Game 2, it was him that disrupted Special, and in Game 3 kind of gave it away. So that analysis means I think Diego has a chance in a best of 3.
We both play Protoss, Jeff, and we always know that like playing Protoss it always feels different than when you look at a beastly Zerg, because Zerg is just such a different race as Protoss. When it comes to information early on, when it comes to you can actually sit back and just try to defend attacks, and you're going to be more than fine. With Protoss, that's a little bit dangerous because there are a couple of weak points here and there, and you do want to be out there. As a Zerg, Dark can just macro and see what is happening and respond, and well, he's Dark, so his responses are so damn good.
And Kelazhur is definitely known for having really good control. He's I mean, when I think about him, I think of a very bio-heavy player who forces a lot of macro. The series that stand out to me, and I know I'm supposed to be the host here, but trying to get a little bit of the Terran side in, I feel like the variety at least in terms of those mid-game army compositions, might be where he struggles a bit. And that's what had me concerned about this, just because Diego is very good at what he does. But I look at some of the other Terrans here, and you have guys like Innovation and Gumiho that have like 7 different army compositions that they can work with in the mid-game.
Of course, but I also don't think you want to get too carried away when you go up against somebody like Dark.
Yeah.
You don't want to have like, okay, I've got 7 builds that are all excellent, and I'm going to pick 2 of them. I honestly think it's better to just focus on 1 or 2 things and try to do that absolutely as good as you possibly can. At the end of the day, I think Dark is a human being as well. I'm not sure if we've ever got it confirmed or not.
Have you seen him bleed?
But maybe he's got bad days too. You know, he has had a long journey as well. He's been here for a couple of days. This is not esports in 2011 where we fly them in on, you know, Tuesday night and we make them play on Wednesday morning. He's been here for a while. He shouldn't be super jet lagged. But I think Diego should probably focus on 1 or 2 things and try to just execute that as good as possible.
All right, it's time to see if Kelazhur has a powerful enough build to execute to take down the monstrous Dark. We're going to go to this series. Let's head over to the commentary team.
That's right. G'day, guys, and welcome to Day 2 of the WCS Global Playoffs. I'm Maynard. With me is one of my favorite people in the whole world, Zombie Grub, and we have got our TVZ for the ages coming up here. Talk to us about the series.
It's going to be hopefully fantastic. I mean, TVZ, expert for Kelazhur, but then Dark being just an expert in most things. Kelazhur has a shot to really come out of the gate strong, be really aggressive, harassment, proxies, and maybe throw Dark a little bit off. But if Dark's in his element, he's like, I'm totally comfortable against this, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah, and he often is in his element from all the tournaments that I've watched, and I have seen quite a few. And Kelazhur is one of those guys, one of the people I would say is a high vote for most improved player in 2017. He has completely changed from his last year performance. I mean, the guys brought it up on the couch. He is a brand new man. He's not the proxy gimmicky Terran anymore. He is a god at macro and also the gimmicks. You can throw that out as well, but generally it's been that macro play. And before we get into it too much, let's introduce the players. In the top left here, recently on Ballistics, this is Dark.
And in the bottom right, for Roots Gaming, it's the Red Terran, Kelazhur.
Oh yeah, he's getting into it. He's got that music playing. He is ready. Now, most of the TVCs I've seen from Kelazhur, he's made it actually push into the late game. There's been a couple games that he's managed to end early by, you know, getting really lucky with Hellions. I even saw him throw out a 2-1-1, a crusty old 2-1-1 and get victories in TVZ. But, you know, he has generally been pushing for that late game because I guess he just feels comfortable in it. Usually marred with lots of Liberators. You know, he is generally the bio player, not a mech player, so you see a lot of that. And but Dark is the complete package, and he'll need to, if he wants that late game, you know, he needs to think twice about who he's up against here.
Yeah. Of course, Kelazhur has been spending some time in Korea. By some time, I mean a lot of time, so I'm sure he's practiced against some of these guys on that ladder, amongst the best Rogue and Dark in my eyes, honestly, right now. So hopefully he has a couple of plans. Dark's also been playing a little bit, you know, against some greater Terrans, and perhaps Kelazhur can look at them for some inspiration, but really when it gets down to it, I feel TVZ is such, like, it's not a game where you get, like, that hidden blank build, right? And they are so surprised. You know, the armory is usually really scouted, especially by Dark, who usually goes for the Overlord speed. Surprises aren't really the name, I feel, of this matchup so much as it is just like strong mechanics. And it's like, Kelazhur, can he get to the strong mechanics of like an Innovation?
Yeah, mechanics, he's got the mechanics, but I mean, when you compare yourself to Innovation, does anyone compared to him? We have the Reaper Expand here from Kelazhur, Hatch Gas Paul from Dark, so he's just doing a regular build here, not like Snoot, who's scared of early proxies or anything like that. Dark's just happy to play your regular macro opening. Kelazhur going up to a second Reaper though. This is pretty interesting. Seen it before, but it's not quite that common.
Yeah, I feel like more commonly we see the follow-up Marine, perhaps, because the pool first is a pretty popular build even still. Something to take care of, maybe 2 Lings, maybe 4. But of course, Dark Knight not going for that. The Reaper's going to see it, see the creep already spread, see the Lings pop out and get to work. This could perhaps pair up with Hellions, you know, back to Heart of the Swarm, where you would get even 3 Reapers and really pile on the pressure. And that would be an interesting, like, tiny adaptation early game TVZ.
Yeah. I wonder if this build will, it actually sees, in my mind, transition very well into like Hellion and Raven or something like that to get that starport down and just, you know, obviously the Raven's very good for detecting creep. It can also harass, and then the Hellions with the Reapers can actually bounce around and mess up a good cluster of Lings. So Could see that happening here. Just as it stands, these Reapers obviously aren't doing much damage, but they are getting a fair bit of scouting information here. Now heading up into the main, only 3 links to worry about. That Queen, she's a little bit beastly up there. She gets a grenade to the face, and the Reapers live for now. But there's that starport going down for Kelazhur. He has got the 1-1-1 build happening here, and I think that's going to be a tech lab on that barracks. I think we might be seeing that Raven play I was talking about.
Pretty sure. I feel like the Raven play really was born on Abyssal Reef and then adapted to all the other maps as well. It's very strong. On Abyssal Reef, kind of like a hanging natural. You can place down the auto turret 5, 6, 7 times, and then also be used for creep spread removal. That's actually the biggest benefit I've seen from Ravens nowadays.
Reaper still has 1 grenade on cooldown, and they do get out of there. Just want to tussle with the Lings a little bit more, but yeah, Diego's micro quite good here, not losing any of his Lings. Dark just shaving off a Ling too, no big deal. He's kept the drones alive, he's done a pretty good job there, but it is Hellion o'clock now, and he has to be worried about getting hit in 2 places at once. Even just 2 Reapers being uncontested can actually do a little bit of damage in the drone line if he doesn't worry about it. Yeah. Oh, actually, he's going to switch things up here, so going Viking first and then going to get a Banshee after that.
Yeah, the Overlord getting a very easy scout. It was in proper placements. Yeah, I do think it'll be a Banshee follow-up. It's also pretty common. Not sure that's going to be a fake or anything like that. One Ling manages to get in, an extra check to see if anything sneaky's going on.
Yeah, and these Hellions are actually in a spot of bother down here. The Lings trying to get the wraparound. One of them very, very hurt at the back line. The Reapers could mess with the Lings and, throw a grenade and keep them alive at the expense of their own lives. These Hellions, though, not getting a whole lot done. One of them's going to get picked off. Yeah,
it's very unfortunate. 2 Hellions, the buddy Hellions, I guess, were brought back for the Lings. 2 more pop out, and that's still a fair number of Hellions to pressure, especially if the Banshee's going to be coming forward as well. But a 3rd CC goes down.
Oh.
Viking gets 1 Overlord, probably 2 or 3. That's usually the medium amount for a Viking.
I love that from Dark. His Lings scouted the starport and the tech lab, but he just wanted to make sure that the tech lab was still spinning, wasn't anything cancelled there, and the Overlord did sacrifice itself, but it's very, very important to make sure that that is actually what he's up against. So now he knows for sure. Lair going down here, Spore Crawler's getting dropped as well, and he's getting those Banelings ready for the Hellions, which are going to be the ground force here for Kelazhur.
Yeah, I mean, generally Queens can do a great job of pushing off those Hellions, and Banelings usually, in fact, if they chase off of creep, they usually die.
True.
But just in case they turn into Hellbats, they're certainly very helpful. Actually, I want to say it's a little bit oddly safe, considering how Dark got so much scouting done. But he will certainly be prepared for the eventual Marine push as well. Dealing with the Hellions and Banshees very, pretty much perfectly. Starting to really get the drone count up, but Kelazhur is also macroing as hard as possible.
Yeah, he's doing a very good job keeping the worker count on a nice count there. The 3rd will be nicely timed. Meanwhile, Dark shooting ahead in drones as Zergs often do at this point. First Banshee getting across the map now, heading towards this natural location, but Spore Crawler giving detection range. He is going to get a few drones here, or just 2 for now. He's got diving a little deep. Definitely needs to keep that alive. That's an expensive unit right there. So Dark's just keeping an eye on when this 3rd drops down. Diego will need to fix that up. Yeah, he wants to get that 3rd down.
We see all the Terrans take the forward 3rd base, actually, so I don't know if the Dark is planning on scouting with that Ling, but I think I just checked the front.
Yeah, if you're parade pushing with bio and that sort of thing, getting the low ground 3rd at the front of the natural is quite nice, because you can obviously defend it as well as attack. And Dark is going for what we see lots of Zergs go for in CBT these days, the Lingbane and Hydra, and getting that 4th hatchery behind that. And he's getting melee upgrades. The melee upgrades just really benefit you a lot more when you go for this composition. Getting upgrades on the Hydralisks, they already do a lot of damage. You kind of just want the Lings to get those upgrades so that you can, if you need to, transition into those Ultralisks and have those upgrades marry on.
Kelazhur does take the base to the right side. You can certainly put a wall up over there. Should be going into tanks, although I'm not sure we have anything coming out from the factory right now. Just more barracks being put down. Finally, the armory for the upgrades. Double Banshee looking for any damage. Slow Overseer taking his time to get over here, but
it looks like he's going to lose 1 Banshee here. 2nd one lives for now, but the Overseer making sure that he gets detected the whole way through, and that Queen range coming in strong. Looks like a 15 Marine pickup here from Kelazhur. He is going to go for a drop play here, and Kelazhur is one of those players very similar to TY, where when he starts drop play, he does not stop. He will just continue to multi-prong attack. Speaking of multi-prong attacks, Dark is going for some harassment himself. Bunch of Banelings here, 4 of them in fact, going towards that 3rd mineral line.
That's certainly a problem. I mean, you get the wall up eventually, this isn't so much a problem, but that's a point that Dark should be pressuring a lot with Ling run-bys and Baneling attacks. But a little bit of creep removal here. Kelazhur's not going to be looking for too much more.
Baneling's heading into the 3rd. Let's see how much they get done. Oh, that's actually not too bad.
That's pretty good.
That's actually a lot better.
That's pretty good.
That's insane, actually. Oh my god.
Of course, on that right side, it takes longer to set down the supply depot wall, so now you can even, I think, see him, oh, okay, I should do this now. But already 14 SCVs lost, no pull whatsoever. That was great for Dark.
Did he even have Baneling speed? I think those things just waddled
on
in there.
Yeah, they waddled in. Oh, they rolled.
They rolled on in. All right, so Rock's being cleared up here for Dark, opening up the map a little bit easier for him to be able to attack and also return to defend. Kelazhur, again, keeping up with the drop play. He's got 2 medevacs full of Marines up at the top and 2 medevacs full of Marines at the south. It needs to get damage done after that run by.
That stim is pretty far off, though.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, he got combat shield first.
Yeah,
I wonder if that's actually deliberate here. Yeah, you definitely want stim first.
Yeah, there's so many benefits to stim. This actually might just be a huge mistake. Perhaps nerves. Yeah. Affecting Kelazhur. He also loses the drops.
I actually even just assumed that he had stim.
Right.
You really assumed nothing. But my God, that's yeah. I mean, obviously they can't stutter step. Sniping Baneling. The Banelings have speed before he even has stim. So this is very bad for Kelazhur. A potential game-ending mistake here for him. I mean, he has to pull back and basically give the map back to Dark right now.
Yes, which is a big problem. You know, a lot of times the Terran, they have the double drops on the way out, 2 double drops, and they're macroing really well behind it, right? You know, they have a solid setup with a decent number of tanks, but they are applying that pressure, so they don't have to worry about this attack that Dark might end up doing once he sees that 4th base going to be put on location. It delays it for as long as possible, but without that stim, losing all the early medevacs, now he finally has that chance to really apply some pressure, but he's kind of like turtle a little bit.
He does need to lock it down. I mean, he is behind in every single way right now. Dark's not too concerned about the economy. He is all good with the drone count right now. Sitting on 83, Hive's on the way, and he's just making a big bowl of lings and probably looking to just lock things down here. Maybe get off that creep and see if he can hurt Kelazhur some more.
There was a game a long time ago, I want to say like 1 or 2 years ago, where Gumiho, pretty good Terran, did forget stim, but by turtling and basically buying time for the extra, however long it takes, 100 seconds, right? Didn't do so poorly. And there are certain Terrans, even Innovation lately, and some of his TVZs have been just like not even bother pushing, right? They get the 4CC really, really fast, and they do just kind of like accept that they're going to play to the late game. And I think Kelazhur is also going to have to accept that pretty soon.
Well, he's going to have to accept a whole bunch of Banelings heading towards him very, very shortly here. He's trying to go for a drop. Of course, he has stim now. And fighting off creep, not too bad here, but that is an overwhelming amount of Zerg on the dance floor. He has to get off that thing. But the drop here towards the 3rd. Nope, never mind. Lots of Queens here are going to touch up that medevac very heavily. And he's heading towards that 4th location. Dark has so many units. Even though Kelazhur's locked in and this might go all right for him, the Banelings leading the charge are doing pretty nicely here against the Bio.
I just don't think Kelazhur expected the attack, but tried to react as fast as possible by lifting that command center. There were so many tanks, I actually really wondered if that would work, but Kelazhur just simply wasn't prepared.
Yeah, Dark picked a good fight there. In fact, the drop in the main doesn't get too much done either. He lost 9 SCVs there. None of the drones have gone down. He's trying to flank with some Bio, but these Hydras, I mean, they are going to start to pull out here, and he is going to lose a few of them. So Kelazhur does hold, but not before taking a big hit to his economy again.
The worst thing I think about that was that he lost his tanks.
Yes.
So he's going to have to replace every single one. I mean, it is double factory. He saved his 4th command center. His SCV count's still okay, but he is just thrown back to the Stone Age, and Dark's already almost remaxed.
Yeah, Kelazhur's got that 3-3 on the way ahead of the Zerg, as often is the case, but 3-3 and Adrenal on the way for the Zerg as well. Kelazhur managing to hold onto the 4th this time, a little bit better now. He's got the 4th on location. Tanks obviously helping out the Bio a little bit. Creep spread's not too scary for him at the 4th base yet, but it is starting to spread out very uncontrollably at the bottom here.
Yeah, Kelazhur is going to be swamped by that creep soon enough. Well, it may be swamped by the army soon enough. Yeah. Dark is ready to go. I'm going to back off for now. There really aren't that many tanks. He could really probably just wrap around the army, maybe waiting for those ultras.
I'm really worried about Kelazhur right now. I mean, it's ultra o'clock. We are at, nearly the 12-minute mark here. Infestors look like they're going to come out for Dark as well with these ultralists. But Kelazhur, I mean, tanks can do all right, but these ultras are going to have full upgrades very short. It is for Kelazhur just yet.
That's a good point. If you have a really, really high tank count, especially in a choke.
That one down here, but
okay, well, you're wrong there.
That's just the one. Yeah.
But if you have a lot of tanks, like sometimes it can be too scary for like the Ultra to actually push in. But he lost so many tanks at the beginning that 5 really is not that scary amount, and they really are quite spread out. So Ultras could probably still bust. If they can't, then a Viper will help out, which is what he's getting.
He's always throwing in Marauders to help out with those Ultras, also to tank those Banelings as well. It's almost a defensive choice here from Kelazhur, who has generally been such an aggressive guy. And in this game, obviously, is forced to play this way. This Liberator actually may get a few drones. Going to get 1 here, and then this Ling makes sure that the front door is down for Dark to be able to attack that 3rd base.
Yeah.
Liberator looking like it may get taken out by the Spore Crawler, but Kelazhur is pushing forward. He really needs to deal with this creep, and he knows that. Scanning ahead, stimming what he can, but that is still a scary Zerg army. Yeah. Line of tanks is quite nice, though, with that high ground.
Yeah, Kelazhur has 332 on his tanks, and he has a decent number. As long as he siege hops, doesn't get just overwhelmed being on creep, making a foolish mistake, he might actually be able to pressure this third, or rather, that's actually the fifth of the sixth, rather. But there are ultras, there's the Vipers, certainly a Spire and Brulets could come down sooner.
Here we go. Looks like Dark wants to go for a big flank here. Kelazhur was the meat inside of the Zerg sandwich. So far trading all right against the Banelings here, and he's pushing Dark back.
Whoa, maybe overestimating how good those blinding clouds were on the tanks. Everything was a little bit awkward as Dark's two halves of the army just mistimed, perhaps. And there was a random mule drop as well, but I think that might have been for a scan of the Infestors, which, you know, Dark didn't really have yet.
No, not just yet, but they're going to come in very, very clutch for him if he does want them now. There's only one Viper as well, and there was a little Baneling drop that killed a bunch of SCVs, but this hatchery's in a lot of trouble, Zombie Grub. Kelazhur's starting to push things here. Dark needs to answer with this.
There really aren't that many Banelings left. In fact, they just got blasted away. A couple more coming from behind, but the tank's still alive. You're getting a lot of shots off. That mule ended up repairing a little bit. Liberators siege up now, and there's still a lot of bio on the ground.
That is so much for Kelazhur here, and Dark actually has to pull back and get a new force. Give up this hatchery. It has to get taken out, and it does. Whoa, Kelazhur, please kill that. There it is. And he is going to pull back. That's good damage for Kelazhur, but he's taking a lot of econ damage back at home as well, so he needs to do more than that.
The problem with that push, of course, is that Dark had like a 3,000 bank, right? So I mentioned Broodlords. He could have gotten there eventually. He just he's like, nah, I can just remax over and over again. So Kelazhur, it looks like one shining bright moment and is now going to get crushed.
Planetary repair going down here. He's trying to keep that Planetary alive, and it looks like it may hold for now. He needs to get those SCVs, but they are still repairing here. The Ultralists are starting to go down. Baneling's looking for the SCV line, but the Bio takes them out. The Ultra will not finish off this Planetary, and Kelazhur is going to hold on.
Oh my god, but he's below 100 supply. He only lost 15 SCVs. That's really not so bad, but oh, the supply is not looking very good. Dark had another base to the right side anyway, so while killing one base looks great, I mentioned that bank and just, you know, the high amount of workers that Dark has at 85. He's able to replace that army.
It seems like every time Kelazhur fights the Zerg, he's losing 10 to 15 SCVs somewhere else on the map. Those ones obviously on the front line trying to repair that Planetary. And Dark coming in with a lot more Ultras this time. I don't know if Kelazhur can do it this one. I don't know, okay, Zombie Grub, this is so much Zerg.
It's mostly Ultras, though, which actually are something you can micro against. When Lings wrap around you, when the Fungals come down, that it's really suspicious, but there isn't enough army to take advantage of it. The Planetary does get taken out. Now looking for SimCity to help him, but this is probably game.
Yeah, probably another 15 SCVs go down, and Dark just pressuring Kelazhur with his Ultra Cuddles. GG, well played, and Dark gets game number 1. I saw a lot of potential for Kelazhur in that game, though. I mean, obviously the stim thing, a pretty big mistake? Question mark? There are most, I don't want to say definitively 100% that was a mistake, but I'm like 99% sure that you don't want combat shield before stim.
Right, so I mentioned how some Terrans are getting like absurdly fast fourth base. I'm talking like 8 minutes, right, instead of like 10. And if he did that, then I'd be kind of on board. Like, well, maybe he's playing some, you know, adaptation that has been experimented with by some of our mech players. They're like, I want bio as mech, and they just turtle. But Kelazhur's just not that guy, man. Like, he's about the aggression. He's about the mid-game, really starting to, you know, push the Zerg opponent off his game, and he just was unable to do that.
Yeah, when it was mid-game and he was loading up 4 medevacs full of Marines, I'm like, this is the Kelazhur I know and love. He's going to just start trying to, you know, hit 2 hatcheries at once, hitting mineral lines, hitting drone lines, maybe picking off a, you know, a critical base here and there, but without stim, it just does not happen, and it's something that he couldn't keep Dark pinned back at all. He couldn't do any damage to Dark economy at all, really.
Yeah.
And that just meant that, you know, most Zergs, when their economy is left alone, will spiral out of control, especially if their name is Dark.
I think that's one of those games, though, that you play on ladder and you're like, you know, I had a really bad mid-game for X or Y reason, but man, that guy didn't have that great of a late game. Like, if I could just tune some things, not lose 15 SCVs right off the bat and then another up there after that, I would actually be able to take this guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw that Kelazhur actually had some shining moments in that game towards the end there, without the ability to do any damage to the Zerg in the early to mid game. So, I mean, imagine if game 2 coming up here, things go better in the early game for Kelazhur. The dream may be alive for this foreign Terran here. And let's get into it. In the bottom right here, winning game number 1. This is Dark.
And in the top left, as the red Terran, it's Kelazhur.
He's popping and locking to that track that he's got down there. I'm going to ask him what song he's got, because I'm a big fan of big fan of players that bring in their favorite tracks for tournaments, and this one is the biggest tournament yet.
Yeah. Maybe got that idea from Hearthstone. I mean, when I'm nervous, I kind of bop along with some music, but I remember seeing Kelazhur do it before.
Yeah, I don't recall him ever doing it either, but you know, if it works out for him, fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully he was thinking about the same things that we mentioned, you know, like that mid game was not great. The early game was very like it didn't really happen. But the late game, I had some chances, like I can still do this. Kelazhur certainly surprised at GSL versus the World when he was able to take out TY. Yeah, that was the back off some early aggression that did really surprised TY, and as I said in the first game, I'm not sure that that same dynamic can happen in TVZ, but Kelazhur is a guy that's like looking for his place, I suppose. Like I've been growing substantially with my skill in 2017, and if I actually was able to beat Dark, get out of my group, well then that would cement me as one of the best, if not the best, foreign Terran.
Yeah, well, actually, Dark and Kelazhur's qualification path to this tournament's been quite similar, where they've not won tournaments, but they've made consistent top 8s, top 4s, and in Dark's case, he made a finals appearance as well for SSL. So, they got here based on points just because of their consistent years, and Kelazhur is one of the best performing foreigners, and there's a reason he's here.
Yeah.
It's his first ever global playoffs, BlizzCon.
Yeah. Of course, special, the other foreign Terran that everyone's eyes are on, right?
Yeah, same deal.
Yeah, you've got 2-1 versus stats, but he still won that one. I'm sure Kelazhur looked at that and was like, man, that'd be great if I could do that too against Dark.
Well, there's some magic here in Hollywood. We've seen some pretty sick games for the Koreans and for the foreigners here, which is what we wanted and what we promised. Yeah. We're seeing a nice quick Hellion build here from Kelazhur, the looks of things. He went gas first, I think, and then going into expansion, but this is Ascension to ISO. Reapers aren't as amazing. Going for the double Marine opening here, just looking for Overlords.
Yeah. Again, if there's the pool first, then you can take care of the Lings, but also looking for Overlords. Did not find any. Kind of forgot about the 2 Reaper opener last game, to be honest. They didn't really amount to very much. Unfortunately, the truth is that the Hellion pressure, whether it's with Reapers or not, just isn't what it used to be. 5 years ago, it could actually do some serious damage. Usually it's just an opener. We do have the Overlord speed on the way for Dark.
That's good old Dark here. Overlord speed is just, he was kind of the guy that made this popular. He was the first Korean that I remember that did it just every single game, especially like ZVPs, made sure that he had the Overlord speed to keep his opponent honest, as it were. Like, you cannot hide from Overlord speed.
I wonder if, because last game he got such a great Overlord position, he was actually like, I don't need it. But getting it here, being denied the Ling Scout that happened last game, I'm not sure Kelazhur is planning anything really funky. He just is like, he has his Hellbat pushes, he has, his proxies, but as far as like double Starport or something like that, like I haven't seen him do that.
No, it does show up every now and then, but it seems like double Starport is, not being the flavor for TVZ at the moment. There's that Speed Overlord getting in here, sees that Tech Lab. Oh, that's I'm not sure that's the correct upgrade here. I think this might be a fakie here from Kelazhur.
Well, I hope it is.
Yeah, I hope so.
There was one build, though, I think, used with this upgrade that if Kelazhur is trying to bring back, more power to him, but the effectiveness of this upgrade, it's not like getting Liberator range, where that's like a huge difference, and everyone's like, what the heck is this? This is the speed upgrade. Or the boost upgrade, I suppose, for the medevac. Yeah, which, I mean, it does make them very speedy. This is over halfway done. Like, he actually might be intentionally getting this.
Oh, whoa. Okay, this will be the... Okay, Overlord gets taken out. Does he cancel?
It's such a fast upgrade. I hope he doesn't, think he can still cancel it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God, he's really going to do it. This is... So as you know, we have the Observer actually showing what it is, because it's just not an upgrade that's gotten very much. It lasts longer, but the cooldown also is the same. So really, it's like a double effect of how fast you can go with the speed boost of the medevacs.
So this is going to be some kind of sick Marine pressure with the stim timing by the looks of things with the medevacs. This is really cool from Kelazhur.
Yeah,
certainly something I've never seen him do before, or to any Terran actually, for a very, 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 very long time. And Dark. He's getting Dropper Lords and he's getting Roaches. So this actually looks pretty interesting from him as well. He's going to load up the Queens.
All right.
Uh-oh.
I feel like this is such a strong build against any 1-1-1 variety. You're really dependent on a lot of strong, a few strong units is what I should say. So, maybe a Liberator, maybe a Raven. He does see the push coming, though, and is going to try and build some bunkers, but you do not have a lot of units. Like, your production of your barracks is it's not started, but his factory was on a tech lab ready to go, not swapped off, so a tank could help here.
Tank certainly could help, and I mean, I'll tell you what won't help, speed medevacs. Like medevacs with extra boost. But we have the Hellions pulling back here. He has to bring everything home, take it very, very seriously. The Overlord with the Queens is coming. The Ravagers are being morphed in his front doorstep. Bunkers are done first. The first tank is out, and the Vikings looking for that Overlord. Get rid of it, Vikings!
Oh, Viking, what are you doing?
He had one job. He had one job.
Terrible job. He's going to try to take out an Overseer now, but there's no Banshees on the way. That tank actually in a great position.
Yeah.
The Queens did not drop on top of it. The Viking finally finds the correct Overlord as well, and Kelazhur has a promising start.
Yeah. He could potentially hold here. He's got the SCVs on the front line, just starting to repair everything that Dark's doing to him. Corrosive Biles, he has to dive deep into that tank fire if he wants to go for it. The tank, in fact, looking like he's going to move forward a little bit here, along with that Liberation range.
This actually looks like a really nice hold from Kelazhur. The fact that the bunkers are filled here, the production, the barracks is finally done. The Queens never really did a great job. They just kind of like dilly-dallied off to the side. This is looking good, and Dark goes back to droning.
Yeah, he certainly does. Just making 14 drones right now, because he knows that Kelazhur is going to have everything back at home to hold this. No chance of harassment right now. Medevacs are starting to get produced now for Kelazhur. The front door is it's locked down pretty good here. The Corrosive Biles is doing a little bit of damage, a little bit of minerals here to repair that front, but yeah, I don't see Dark breaking him immediately.
Yeah, so I think right now we can just say that Dark's not going to break Kelazhur, but what can he do to, like, is this actually a problem for him that he didn't do more damage, right? Like, you don't get upgrades, but now they did really Kelazhur. In fact, his carapace isn't like that bad along. Going for Infestors, even if he did somehow, like, really just mess up with this push, lost his army, Roach Ravager Infestors are a great comeback mechanic anyways.
Absolutely,
and he is, like, containing Kelazhur, so his initial, like, poor worker count is looking a lot better.
True that. I mean, Dark went for an aggressive opening here, so his drone count isn't amazing either. So the Terran's actually on nearly equal workers with the Zerg, which is fantastic for the Terran. Dark's going to try and deal with that by making some drones. Kelazhur was a supply block for a little bit there, and you had to use a bunch of energy on supply drops to make sure he kept up with production. So that hurts a little bit, but certainly in an all-right spot at this point. He's not down and out. Going to go for some counterattack damage now.
I would say what's really nice, too. So, of course, with Medevacs now out, Stim and Combat Shield's going to be done. Kelazhur has a lot of potential to do damage, keep Dark now contained off of that fourth base. But what's great is that the tanks never died. Like, he started a very early tank count, so when he does finally push, or maybe he receives a push from Dark, that tank count is going to be actually a real problem.
Yeah, it's very, very nice. I mean, Dark's not going for Hydralisk this game, but Tank's still, of course, still very nice against Roach and Ravager.
Yeah.
He's got the single factory at the moment. Armory going down to make sure he can get 2-2 immediately, as well as upgrades for that tank. Another Overlord being shaved off, so nice little bit of damage from Kelazhur. Dark again, also supply blocked.
Kelazhur starting to get into the groove, perhaps. Liberator. Not going to get very much at all with the Queen Micro, but this is perhaps distracting Dark from scouting a huge push to the north. The tanks are coming. He's getting so close up before Dark even realizes what's going on. Dark could just cancel his fourth base, and he probably has to, because I don't think he can't defend it now.
Yeah, Dark's going for loading up for some Bane Rain damage here, but he's loading it up so far back. They might have to come in from the back and try and help him out against these tanks, but I don't see that happening. Scans forward from Kelazhur, and he just starts taking out this creep. And Dark's army isn't extremely impressive.
Yeah, the fact that Kelazhur got all the way across Ascension to Ire, sieged his tanks, and now can leapfrog in a very short span of time to Dark's third is amazing. Dark has a pretty poor army supply when you consider that it's actually still a lot of Roach Ravager.
Yeah, and it's incredibly supply inefficient, especially as you head towards this point of the game. Baneling's being morphed here. The Infestors have enough energy for some fungals, so they can help out. But of course, holding on for when that bio is clumped up to help him out. And with his Medevac boost upgrade, he can actually boost all the way from the main to reinforce this attack.
Yeah, Dark is in trouble here. He's got one upgrade. He's trying to get to Ultras, but he still has to wait for plating to help out. Plus, he just has to wait for so many more minerals than he has right now.
Bane Rain again here from Dark. Going to get a bunch of SCVs here. Great damage. 9 SCVs going down. Absolutely worth it for Dark. Ooh, Infestors. One of them nearly going down that tank, but as it stands, they are still alive. And he is stimming up. He loaded up a Medevac. I think that was by accident. This one getting loaded up at the back line. And Dark is starting to push forward, but does he have enough? No, it's not the case.
That was a pretty nice concave from Kelazhur. Just backed away. Didn't really get any of those nasty fungals. And again, the tank count.
The Infestors are dying to the tanks.
Yeah, nice focus fire from Kelazhur. Absolutely crucial right there. And Dark is down 40 army supply. that third base is looking to be in real trouble. The fourth base also could probably be taken out by this reinforcing group of units.
Well, if he gets his third base and pushes Dark back, I see Kelazhur just pushing forward for the win here. He's stinning on in. The Infestors are gone here for Dark. He's just got Queen, Roach, Ravager, and Banelings coming forward. The Banelings are connecting nicely with the Marines. Kelazhur still has reinforcements on the way, though.
Yeah, I think Kelazhur may be a little overconfident there. There's some Banelings hit his Marines, but now there's only Ravagers left, and that's GG!
Kelazhur makes it a series, tying it up 1 apiece here. Oh, man, what a sick game from him. We were like, fake upgrade? Question mark. It ended up being really sick. Being able to boost all the way from his main where his production was to the attack with 1 boost.
Yeah, that is pretty sick. I'm not going to lie. I'm still like wondering if that was an intentional build. Like, there's so many things that happen in the early game with the Dark's push, right? So I want to note that we also got hype for Nurchio defending against Sue's all-in, and maybe that's just the one game given to foreigners. Like, I don't know. But
Devil's
it was like
advocate zombie club over here.
But it was one of those things that it was just a nicely lined up defense. Like everything kind of like fell into place for Kelazhur. Dark was really hoping he had transferred over the factory and wasn't using it so the tank wouldn't be out. He was hoping it wouldn't be scouted by the Hellions who might have tried going to the third base. Like, it was a beautiful hold, and Dark was definitely in a bad position, and he never, like, Kelazhur never let him get that fungal corrosive bile combination that would just ruin the army supply lead he had.
Will Dark's streak against foreigners end here today? One map will decide here between Kelazhur and Dark for one of the biggest upsets I would say that I've seen here if this happens. Special beating stats makes more sense to me than Kelazhur beating Dark here. This would be huge, and he is in a good mood. The energy is high here in Burbank. And let's get into map number 3.
Ooh.
Oh, baby. He's looking sharp.
Yeah, these
Both
are really
of them
good
are,
pictures, actually.
Yeah.
What was the next map we're about to see here? It is Acolytes.
Oh, yeah. Let's introduce the players in the bottom left here. Winning game 1, losing game 2. Will he win game 3? This is Dark.
In the top right, as the Red Terran, he is Kelazhur.
Brilliant game 2. In fact, on Ascension to Ire, I think that's really, even more impressive because of that map's balance in TVZ. I just feel like Zergs have been having a better time on it recently versus Terran. Like, Terrans have been, trying to figure out how to deal with maps like that. Like, do I go mech? Do I do the Gumiho style battle mech? Do I try and bio and drop and harass and that sort of thing? The rush distance is quite long. And Acolyte, this is another one of those maps where I say Zerg can do pretty well against Terran. It is a long walk from base to base here, from opponent to opponent, and you have that pocket natural to be able to hold. I've seen Kelazhur go for like Liberator range and that sort of thing to deal with things like this back natural. This is one of the few maps where that can work on. We'll see if he goes for something like that here.
I want to see if he goes for the speed boost again.
That's what we're all waiting for.
Yeah, maybe his plan was to do a Doom drop with tanks.
Well, see, the thing is, like, the reason why I brought up Ascension to Ire is because of the rush distance. I feel like this is another one of those maps where if he does that, it would work. Like, it's another one of those situations where one boost will get you over to the attack.
Yeah, that's true. I agree on a lot of your points. Acolyte, a big map. Certainly the rallying will be difficult, but Kelazhur, Ascension to Ire would say the same thing most times. Really was able to just pounce on Dark, who was trying to recuperate. Dark is maybe thinking like, okay, I threw out an all-in trying to get the easy 2-0. It didn't work, but I am still not sweating it because this time I'll just play macro.
True. I mean, that is true. Like, Dark going aggressive like that against Terrans, you don't see it every day. He's the kind of guy where the late game is his comfort zone, so I fully expect him to try and gun for that again this time. Kelazhur's first SCV heading out here. Is this...
It's cheeky.
I mean, I've actually... You know what I've seen Kelazhur do before? I've seen him proxy a fusion core for Liberator range.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
I wonder if this is the case. I feel like maybe a starport makes more sense. But we will see from Kelazhur as his first Reaper comes across the map.
Yeah, just keep an eye on that SCV. The Reaper is going to, of course, scout the Dark, takes the space outside, which is very normal. No early pool. Almost got a drone there. Might make his way into the main base to make sure nothing suspicious is happening, but almost getting trapped.
Oh, Reaper's a little bit low. There is one spot here where the Reaper's able to jump into the main in Ascension to Ire. Starport getting dropped back at home. So this proxy SCV actually may be dropping that fusion core. That would be insane. Or it might just be waiting for, that's the only thing that I can see this SCV doing, is trying to hide something.
Yeah, you know, the follow-up scout for Terrans are usually the Medivacs or the Hellions. Oh, this Reaper.
Yeah, he's got the Gotcha Queen down here. He's looking for that Reaper to jump down on those lead hit points.
Oh, this is nice, though. He gets basically another scout.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. But anyway, so if the Reaper had died, though, the Hellions usually follow up and get, like, the secondary scout. So an SCV in this matchup usually isn't as, like, the SCV follow-up tricky scout usually isn't needed. Aha, there it is. Made it with the calls.
One more time. I saw him do this on Mech Depot, I think against Cyril.
Yeah.
Wow, this is pretty cool here from Kelazhur. We'll see if it pays off for him. Again, this map just is one of those few maps where it does have those that dead space. The Observer was showing it before. All those Liberators. Hellions going to get the drone line.
That Reaper distracting for so long almost opened it up for the Hellions. But with 2, it's really not that bad. God, I really want to see this as a fake upgrade. Well, I mean, this has to be a fake upgrade. The Fusion Crew's about to finish.
Yeah, come on. Come on, mate. Come on, mate. I know we called fake upgrade last time, but this has to be.
Yeah.
We did actually start by saying that this upgrade could work on this map because
oh my god.
But the tech lab needs to be researching advanced ballistics when this thing finishes, you know what I mean?
It's actually like speed range and battle cruisers. Like all
TVC's
3.
completely turned on its head like 2 weeks before a giant patch or whenever the new patch comes out.
Yeah. All right. So the Liberator range, this is an interesting to come back. We know the last time we saw this really popular was when Dusk Towers was in the map pool, and to be fair, that was like 4 map pools. But the point is, that was like the last good map because map makers really had to start taking into account, like, we need more space behind the minerals so that Spore Crawlers can fit back there and Liberators can't just abuse it. But the surprise factor is always one good thing, right? And then second, just with the amount of multitasking Kelazhur can do and what he thrives on, unsieging and sieging still works out really well. Eventually, Dark could just forget, get complacent, and then lose a bunch of drones.
So Dark has Lair now, possibly expecting Cloak Banshee so that he can get mobile detection to help him out there. And Kelazhur, he's getting ready for his 3rd. He's going to send those Liberators across the map very, very shortly, starting to produce them now. Dark's got his Banelings and Spore Crawlers ready for what he thinks is Banshee, but as we know with our Caster God camps...
Ooh.
Nice. That's actually a really good tech choice here from Dark, but well scanned by Kelazhur.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say, but nice for both parties. So Kelazhur's going to throw down an armory very quickly, and perhaps this is going to be a Hellbat Liberator push, but I'm also getting like this suspicion, like, hey, could Mech actually come out from Kelazhur? Not really known for it. Could be a surprise. Could be something he was saving against Dark, but time will tell.
There's that range coming in strong here. Not much Dark can do about this Liberator. If those Queens want to start shooting at that thing, they need to take some shots to the face. Spore Crawler coming back here to try and deal with it. And so second Liberator heading down as well. Oh, that Liberator is in Spore range. Can reposition itself to get out of there, though.
Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. If you have the micro to do this, it ends up being okay. But it's not as powerful a build as it was once upon a time. And the fast Spire ends up being coincidentally great for Dark. We'll be able to take care of these things if the Queen just did not do that. It's not going to be Mech. He's making a lot of Hellions. I saw the armory, but no, Stim does come down. Barracks come down, and this Ling is just, it's going to get the full scout. Way to go, buddy.
Well, hello there, Kelazhur. Here come the Hellbats here from Kelazhur with Liberators to help out and a Viking as well. And he is starting to push this 3rd. All the upgrades for Dark are at the front here as well, so if Kelazhur can get these important structures, that'd be pretty huge.
The Liberator moved up a little bit to be getting a lot of Banelings killed. Split at the last second. That's a lot of Banelings. Split more.
Oh, that's actually not a bad split at all.
Yeah, even though Speed finished, that ended up going quite well, but there's still a lot of Queens left over, and the Hellbats will not be able to push through. The Ling even scouts the Fusion Core.
No battle cruisers for you, Kelazhur.
No. No, darn, his 13-minute battle cruiser build is not going to work out.
Yeah. So 1-1 is going to survive here for Dark. Very, very important for those double upgrades to continue on because Terran, when they go by, of course, they're going to always want those double engineering bays pushing forward in those upgrades. 3rd being dropped here for Kelazhur and locking things down with the turrets as he knows that the Spire is in play. Not only is it in play, he's getting upgrades for his air units.
Yeah.
So Ling being muted.
Right, yeah, you know, back to what was normal for so long in StarCraft 2. Looks like he's going to quickly transfer over into Hiders and Infestors, though. I was going to start talking about how, you know, if there is one map that I like to see Spire on, I love Spire in general, but I understand why Hiders can be better. I love seeing Spire on Acolyte. I think with the hanging natural that occurs, the amount of space the mutas really do have to roam around, it's great. But it looks like Dark, maybe like changing his plan as well, depending on what he scouted, is only going to go for the 3. I think he made it canceled, that +1 upgrade.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, exactly. So Dark just changing up his plans here. 3 mutas, forced out 3 missile turrets. Not too bad.
Yeah, 300 minerals worth of not very useful structures right now. I mean, he is getting splash damage on these Marines, and also the SCV is getting quite low on that gas, so not getting a ton of harassment damage, but definitely made it Kelazhur, you know, quote-unquote overcommit with those turrets against those mutas, but...
Well, yeah, and I think the most problematic thing is that if Kelazhur really thinks it's lane Muta, he might be getting Widow Mines, which is just it's agreed by mostly everyone that Widow Mines aren't going to be great against lane Hydra. In some ways, they can still help because the lane Baneling is still kind of a part of the composition, so it can take it out. But okay, good, he is still getting tanks.
Yeah, a little bit of a supply block here for Kelazhur, unfortunately, making 4 depots at a time to be able to deal with it. But, he will be able to get those tanks out, get those multiple factories, catching these Banelings, very, very nice from Kelazhur. I mean, the harassment from Dark has always been effective in the series. Even in the game he lost, his harassment was quite nice. So being on top of that is quite good for Kelazhur. These mutas actually going to kill some Hellions. Very, very low hit point.
Yeah, when all is said and done, Dark had his earlier Spire, but was, up to 80 drones, 4 bases, looking fine. Kelazhur also finding the economy, but his opener, I would say, was a bit of a failure. Like, the Hellbats didn't do as much damage as they thought they would. There was a lot of Hellion production instead of Marine production. Usually swap off the barracks and factory earlier than that. And then the Liberators, they got like 3 drones, something like that. Yeah. Not too great.
I actually love that Kelazhur is getting armor upgrades here. That's going to help out not only the medevacs, but the tanks as well to survive against the ground forces. So the tanks already do a great damage output. So armor is a good choice.
Yeah, we've been seeing, I think, Innovation as well as TY, I want to say, doing this. It seems to be just like, what's gonna be the thing, guys? Like, do it in your ladder games. But Kelazhur is pushing a little bit, loading up otherwise, just to rally forward. And, he kept a lot of those Hellions alive. Hellbats on the front line sometimes are scoffed at, but that's like a lot, and they can soak up quite a few Banelings. Yeah,
Zergs with a heavy count of Lings certainly don't scoff at Hellbats. When you have the mutas just being pushed away here from Kelazhur, of course, they're not really much of an army to be said, but they are, being a little bit annoying in the middle of the map here is Ultratech on the way here for Dark. Hello, Widowmine, goodbye, Banelings. Nice position there from Kelazhur.
Yeah, that's such a headache for a lot of Terran players on Acolyte. You lose control of the left side with the Zelnog, and you just never see the attacks coming. So nicely placed Widowmine there. Kelazhur, they're both maxed out. Kelazhur up 20 army supply. Still a ways to go on his 2-2. But Dark is waiting for his chitinous plating, which only just started, and Kelazhur can start his push.
Sure, it certainly can, and with a lovely position on these tanks. A big Link Blood heading towards that natural, but a big Widowmine hit. Going to take a little bit of sting out of that punch from Dark. It looks like he wants to try and wrap around this force of Kelazhur and hit him from 2 fronts here.
Kelazhur has a really good position, though, with the high ground here. If only he had, like, a few more tanks is all I really would want to see. And maybe he's even agreeing. He's like, okay, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna pull back. And he might just do it at a perfect time to catch these Banelings, be able to at least raise the depots before they do too much damage. Oh, yeah. Now they're just gonna pull back.
The Banelings are sort of swinging back here. They don't want to roll in on their own. Mutas finally being taken out, and that'll be the last mutas we see here, possibly for the rest of the game. Adrenal finishing up for the Lings and 3-3 on the way with chitinous. So these Ultras and also the Lings are going to be very, very scary for Kelazhur to deal with, as he only has 2-2 about to finish.
Yeah, Kelazhur kind of has to go back into defensive mode. Scans to see how many bases are taken while he's scanning in the wrong position. Unfortunately, Dark's not expanding to the left side. 2-2's finally going to finish, and I wanted to mention with the Liberator range opener, that's something that he now has when he wants to go into Liberators.
And Kelazhur late game TVZ is generally quite Liberator heavy. Oh, bunch of forces in the back. The tanks are unsieged as well. Kelazhur caught a little bit out of position here with so many Banelings from Dark rolling on in. Blinding crowds going down to mess out the stutter step as well.
Oh, this is a perfect timing from Dark. He catches Kelazhur unaware. The planetary isn't done. The tanks weren't sieged. Everything is going down here, and Dark's going to take out the 4th base in Kelazhur.
God.
I think he just lost this game.
I think he just lost the game and the series right there, Zombie Grub. A snipe on the CC. The Hydra's finishing it off after the Banelings killed 18 SCVs. And wow, Dark's just making 104 Lings to try and seal this deal and tie a bow on this package of a series.
I was watching Kelazhur move that army in such a weird way, and 1 Marine ahead of it maybe would have given him at least a better chance to concave, get his tank sieged up. That's a terrible feeling right there when you know that you were in an okay position, both maxed out, and then it just all went away.
Yeah, it's very, very low. Medevac, 1 Sovereign Queen or a Spore Crawler, and that goes down with its payload in tow. And Dark, just with every single advantage in the book right now, is going for a big counterattack to try and finish this off. Kelazhur, though, going to try and hold on by getting in the drone line, keeping Dark back and away from him to try and pull a recovery.
Dark's not going to fall for it. Kelazhur was so prepared to go into the late game. He had so many great ideas with Liberators and Drilling Claws and Mass Widow Mines. It would have been cool, but I don't think we're going to be able to see it.
And everything's balled up here in the 3rd. The front door was open. The Banelings get rid of everything. He doesn't even need his scary tier 3 units.